Welcome aboard! If you're watching this video, then let me say, congratulations! You've recently become a member of the Wonderland Tech Group, and this is your first official day of training.
Can I make a haunted house now?
Oh no! You've got a lot to learn before you can make a haunted house. As you can see by this graph, you are now part of one of the most horrifying haunted house groups at UCSD. But it didn't get that way in one day, because the haunted house closes at 11 p.m.
Our story takes place in the world of Alice in Wonderland, but one that's been left to chaos. The very elements that make Wonderland unique are trapped in a loop, leaving the world and the characters to tear themselves and each other apart. Now guests are led back down the rabbit hole to find the remnants of Wonderland and the characters within it.
While not as flashy as other theatrical elements such as an explosion, lighting sets the mood and ambience of a set piece, emphasizing certain elements such as characters or props. When you have seconds to guide guests through a piece of an attraction, lighting can be useful in getting their attention to a certain spot. Moreover, lighting itself can be used as a visual effect. In a haunted house, erratic strobing lights can confuse a guest and cause uneasiness toward their surroundings, making them much more susceptible to scares yet to come.
So when creating the lighting design for a haunted house, you have to collaborate with all the departments to make sure the lighting design that you're creating supplements the needs that they need for the stuff they're doing. For example, we have to talk to the props department and see if there's any props or puppets that require special lighting, or any props within the scenes that could serve as lighting instruments themselves, such as the lanterns that we are using in the tea party scene. Another example would be we have to talk to production and see if there's any scenes that require certain lighting, such as a scene where we'll need blue lighting to supplement an infinity hallway. We have to talk to SFX and make sure there are no lighting effects that they need to go with the effects they are building, such as strobing or sudden changes. We have to talk to operations and make sure that we even have enough people to operate any lighting effects that need to be operated the night of the maze. We have to talk to scare acting and costumes and make sure that there's no characters that need to be highlighted or require special lighting, or sometimes even none at all. And talk to costumes to make sure they don't need any special black lighting or different kind of colors to complement the costumes they're creating. And finally, when we have all this stuff put together and we have a lighting design prepared, we have to talk to the creative director and go through each room scene by scene and ask them, is this how you envision the scene? Is the lighting design fit the vision that you originally intended? Or how can we adjust to make sure that everything fits what you were looking for? Once we have that done, it's time to coordinate with the venue. Our venue is a theater and has a lot of the lighting instruments, gels, and go-gos that we need to complete our maze. But they don't have everything, so at that point we would have to communicate with a third-party venue, such as a rental party. But in this case, we are coordinating with PC Tech and borrowing lighting instruments, go-gos, gels, anything that we don't have at the venue already, and placing an order with them so we can borrow it the week of and put our lighting design together. When creating your lighting design, you also have to keep in mind the different lighting instruments that you will need to achieve the effects that you are trying to create. For example, would it be better to make a pitch black hallway with lit flooring using a LEGO, or an uplight, or an LED, or a tungsten, or even just simple LED strip lights? I kind of just threw a lot at you though. Let's back up for a bit. What are these different types of lights? Let's start with LEGOs. LEGOs are my personal favorite type of light, as they're very versatile. You can put gels and go-gos in them, as well as attach barrels, and adjust the shutters. And you can rig them by using a clamp to attach them to a rigging pole above you, to a standing pole next to you, or even just using their stand to prop them on the floor. An uplight is a small disc type light where you literally just plug it into the wall and you can easily change the settings and you're done. This goes the same for LEDs. But what are go-gos, gels and barrels. Let's start with a barrel. A barrel can be attached to a Lego and each have a different degree. The degree changes the size of the circle that the Lego will produce. And depending on how you focus it, it can either have a hard outline of a circle or it can have a soft outline of a circle. Next are gels. Gels are a thin, transparent, almost plastic-like material that can withstand the high heat of lights. You put it in a frame and you slip it into your light. And it can be almost any color you want if, of course, you have it in stock. So let's say, for example, you want to make the moonlight. You could just use a light blue gel, slip it in your light, and ta-da, you have moonlight. But what if you have moonlight in a forest? Let's try to take it one step further. We'll use something called a gobos. So, for example, last year we had a queue that took place in a camping ground in the middle of the forest, and our creative director really wanted to have moonlight shining through tree branches. So what me and my team did is we took gobos that looked like broken branches sticking out, slipped it into our light, put some blue gel, made it a little blurry, and voila, we had moonlight seeping through tree branches. These are really important, as you have to make sure that the types of lights you're using, the gel and the gobos, all enhance and work together to make sure that your scene fits well cohesively. However, when choosing lights, you could also not use these type of lighting instruments at all. Maybe you have lights in the scene already that can supplement it, such as lanterns or lamps. For example, our tea party scene has lanterns on the table, so we are playing with the idea of using those instruments to fully light the environment. These are things you have to consider, not only to make a better blended experience, but sometimes also within budget, as you might not have the lighting instruments on hand and you might have to rent them. And sometimes budget isn't very flexible. So please keep these in mind when you're making your own lighting design.
Congratulations! You have completed your training to be a light specialist for the Wonderland Tech Crew. At long last, you will finally learn the secret of how to set up the perfect lighting for any haunted house. The secret to all of your problems. And that secret is